You are live.
We're live.
We're live. Okay, we had some technical Bethany difficulty, but I think we figured it out. Hi, Jen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Yeah,
For me.
it's afternoon where you are.
Yep.
It was
We're far.
it was sunny here today. I'm
Was it?
excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
finally. You're finally experiencing not
Yep.
winter.
Not yes. Well, for Georgia, we're doing pretty good. But I was like soaking up the sun there for the few hours that we saw. It was I think it got up to, I don't know, like 55 or something. So it was,
Oh,
yeah. What was the
yeah.
temperature there today?
I'm sure in the 80s, mid 80s.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're
That
tropical. For those of you who don't know me, I live in Honolulu, Hawaii, and we'll talk a little bit more about that
yeah.
in a minute.
Yeah. I'm going to give people a few minutes to come on, especially since we had some technical difficulty. But so we met through Kathy Lip, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That's
Sharing
the main.
intern.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Good times. Kathy Lip fans for life.
For life. I'll be with her next month, the end of February. I will be at the Red House with her for the second time. I am so stoked. We all kind of re-upped and decided to come back. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
we're
That's
having private
awesome.
writer time for sure.
Oh, I'm gonna get a little bit of that this weekend. It's not gonna be quite up to like the standards of writing at the Red House, but it includes like feeding myself only kind of thing, so that counts as something, and I'll have some time to work on some things. So
good. Oh, you're taking a writer mini retreat yourself.
Yes.
Awesome.
A friend and I are going to just kind of get out of town and we'll do some fun things, but we're also going to have some like work time. So I'm excited about that.
So good.
So I'm just going to read this little introduction so that people know who you are. My friend Jen is an educator by profession and personality. She's fascinated by new experiences, what makes people tick, and loves to help people find practical solutions. Jen holds a BA from California Baptist University in Christian Studies with an emphasis in Bible theology, philosophy, apologetics, a minor in English, and teaching credential, and has experience in the public, private, and homeschool sectors of education. She and her husband, Bruce, own a family restaurant. It's the best fish tacos ever, so I'm told. So I'm going to have to come and try them. I'm excited about that. And they're on the south shore of Oahu in the Hawaiian Islands. And they have two cute kiddos, Chloe and Asher, and they're just 11 months apart, which you got me beat. And they love to hang out at the beach, and they try to get there as often as they can. So thank you for being here, Jen. I appreciate that you're coming on and hanging out here. And so we're going to be handing out some permission slips tonight.
We are.
I'm excited.
A lot of them. Yes.
I'm excited.
Can I just tell you that as a former teacher, I always hesitated to give too much permission to my students because I was afraid of what they would do with it. But when I knew and I trusted them and I loved them and I knew their intentions were pure, this just came to me just now. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
The idea of giving them permission to either skip out on an assignment or leave class early or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a good thing. It was a blessing, right? In that context. So I love how you kind of attach that idea to your ministry and granting women permission to do themselves freely, to be who they are is really cool. So.
And that reminds me, it's so funny because I've been camped out in this one verse. It's from Psalms 145. But it reminded me of what you're saying because y'all, this is totally off the cuff. None of this was like,
sorry.
No, I love it. This is what I love. But Psalms 145:16 says, "You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing." And that what you said, like this verse, it just keeps coming back to me again and again and again. And what you just said, like when we know that we're loved and like God's like, yeah, like I've put this within you and now go. I have an open hand for you. And oh gosh, okay. Yeah, I love it. We're off to a great start, Jen.
Keep preaching that because wow, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah,
love it.
so good. So good. It is yeah, and we have to spend time in that. We have to trust God and we have to trust ourselves in order to step into all that we're made for. And so we're going to talk about like some little things and big things when it comes to like permission granted. As moms, as women, because yeah, it's sometimes I think something that women in general just kind of fight with a little bit. Um, struggling to just be who they are and not be afraid to be who they are.
Mhm.
I think something happens for me when I turned 40, things kind of changed a little bit with that. And I was like, all right, I
Mm.
don't care what I look like when I go to the grocery store. I don't care.
You too? Nice.
Yeah.
Me too.
I know, right? That's kind of a fun thing about this age. Um, so we wanted to talk
I
about some
do.
things that maybe moms/women have in common, like areas where we're like we struggle to give ourselves permission granted. So, what's
Mm.
one of those areas for you?
Um, this is kind of an aha moment for me a couple years ago when a friend mentioned it that I, I don't need to cook more than once a day. I mean,
I love it.
I really don't need to be making 3 meals a day. I
Yeah.
mean, cereal for dinner sometimes is
Yes.
okay, but it's underlying for me, I think, was always the fear that I wasn't doing the mom thing right. If I
Yeah.
didn't provide this type of family experience all the
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
or even just help cleaning the house. My goodness. Like,
Seriously,
do
say
I
that.
have to? I hate cleaning floors. BTW. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate cleaning floors. It's annoying enough just to sweep it. I'm like, I gotta wet mop it too. Are you kidding me? Like, do our feet even care? But I had a friend actually offer to help me, not
Love
because she
that.
saw that my house was thrashed, but she's like, I like cleaning. I'll clean for you. I'm like, shoot, do it. Let's do this. Let's partner together and help each
Serious.
other. So,
I've often thought the same thing that I'm just like, if I just had like a cleaning buddy, like
yes,
it would
yes.
just be more fun. Like
Mhm.
we could race, you know, and like
I
see who
love that.
and I would, I just loved the idea of that. And I've tried to you know, try to ask a friend to nobody's like bet on it. Like nobody's like, yes, Bethany, I'll come over and like be your cleaning buddy. Um, yeah, it
It's,
hasn't happened.
don't give up on it. It's worth
Okay.
asking because you never know. Some women are out there, and some women just like to do the craziest things.
Yeah.
And to us, it sounds crazy. Our needs and desires sound crazy to other people, which we're going to get to very soon.
Yeah.
Uh, but we feel bad for like the shoulds. Like, what should I be doing right
Yeah.
now as a woman, as a wife, as a mother? Who's going to tell me that?
100%.
Who's got the rule book for that?
Right.
For parenting. I'm a rule follower. I
Mm,
like to know that I'm doing things right.
yeah.
But when it's
100%.
unclear, lack of clarity is just it's hard because it makes it harder for me to do what needs to be done or make people happy or whatever it is my main motivations are.
I tell you, sometimes I can like go in circles, like trying to like make everybody happy, and I'm just like, okay, oh, I should do this. Or no, but what about this? And what about this? And I mean, that doesn't work well.
Mm-mm,
It just does not
mm-mm.
work well. One of the things for me is that sometimes I believe the lie that I am what I accomplish in a day.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to like, well, to sit and do nothing. Sometimes that's really hard to just sit and rest. And like, I feel like,
Mm-hmm,
this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this.
mm-hmm.
And I think that's a common thing for moms because it's like, okay, I did this, I got this done, I cleaned this out,
Yeah.
or I finished that project for work. And it's just sometimes it's really hard to just be able to sit there and be like, okay, it's okay to just sit and breathe. Like it's okay to just be. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a challenge to be able to give yourself permission to say, okay, nope, it's okay if I do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And because you don't know, if we're not giving ourselves permission to do it in the first place, then we don't know when it's going to be enough, you know,
Yeah.
because we're confused about where the line of enough is. You know, have I
Yeah.
worked hard enough? Have I accomplished enough tasks? And for women, wives and moms who are, especially who are at home, you have the huge duty of taking care of your home. Plus, if you're homeschooling your kids, I'm homeschooling one kid right now.
Yeah.
By the way, I gave myself permission to homeschool one kid and not both.
Yay.
So it's like, you know, there are multiple lists. Can we just
Uh-huh.
admit that we have multiple lists in our brain,
True.
but who is requiring that all of them get checked off in a day? Like, I have to stop and ask
Yes.
myself, who is requiring
Yes.
that of me, and why do I put that pressure on myself?
I have thought about that too when I think about like, the things that maybe I don't enjoy that, maybe other moms are like really good at. And like
Mm,
sometimes I feel like, oh, well, I should comes into play here again. Well, I should do that, or I should try to want to do that, or something like that. Like specifically like baking. It's just
mm,
not always something that I love. Now I like things that you can just dump into like a 9 by 13 and bake it. But if it's like cookies every time, all out of the in and out of the oven, I'm like, I'm not interested, not interested. Um,
yeah, I hear
and
you.
that's okay. And I've just kind of said, nope, I'm not a baker, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. Like I feel no shame. I feel no shame about that.
No shame in
Um,
that game. No.
no, not at all. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
and I had somebody come over. It's actually my pastor's wife. She came over and helped me like organize some things. And then I went to her house and helped her like pack and clean when they were getting ready to move. So we kind of did this like swap thing. And I'm like, you're good at this. And she's like, no, actually, like it was mind blowing because you said like, well, some women like those kinds of things. Some people like those kinds of things.
Mhm.
And I remember when I showed her like what I thought was like the messiest cupboard, like the worst of it. And she's like, wow, like this is going to be so fun. And I was just like, I don't understand. I don't.
What about this is bringing you joy right now?
Exactly.
I don't understand.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
understand, but
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
loved it, and her brain
Mhm.
works that way, and she loves the challenge of it. And I'm like, all
Yes.
right, thank you for being here and doing this with me. Another thing that sometimes I don't give myself permission for, especially as a mom, is having fun.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm concerned about everyone else being happy and having fun. And sometimes I forget that, oh, like this is supposed to be fun for me as well. Do you
Mm.
struggle with that?
I do, but my problem is that I have a different definition of what's fun for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
am perpetually in a state of Jen is boring, and
Oh,
I'm not a so I used to feel like, and I think many moms can relate to this too, feel like you have to create amazing experiences for your kids.
yeah, yeah.
Like the party has to be like the funnest parties had the funnest moms who were like all into the games
Yeah.
and saying, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to cut the cake. And I'm like, I'm not that person. I am like, I will sit in the back of your party and enjoy the
Yeah,
setup and like tell you how beautiful of a job you did on that cake. And like, I am the kind of the back of the room encourager. I don't need to be the one creating
yeah.
that experience. I am happy to hire someone to create that experience for my child. Okay.
Right.
So, uh, but I had to get over the fact that I needed to be the one to do that because for me, it takes a lot of
Mm,
effort to not conjure up joy because I'm a generally happy, joyful person, but
Yeah.
I don't have that level of energy. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And I
do.
think that women need to be able to differentiate what is a God-given level of energy. And
Mm.
when you don't have that, when you're naturally more mellow, that's okay. And you can still be appreciated for that, because the high energy people kind of need someone to mellow them
It's
out
true.
sometimes, you know?
It's true. They need
So
somebody to help them say like, okay, it's okay if we just sit here and sip coffee. Like
yes.
it's
Mm-hmm.
okay if that's all we do. And sometimes that's what we need. Like we need friends
Mm-hmm.
to like balance us out.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yes.
So we kind of talked about a few ways that maybe we have in common, and maybe that moms in general kind of experience. But I wanted also to hear from you, like, what are a couple of ways that you've pursued permission granted that are maybe unique to you and your experience?
So I've had to give myself permission lately to do what I truly love to do. Again, things that are probably boring to others.
Hmm.
I have I have this huge capacity for listening to people's problems
Mm-hmm.
and figuring stuff out with them. I that's the messy cupboard that I love to look into.
I
Is
love that.
like the heart and soul of
Yeah.
what makes a person tick. Like my bio said, like, no, really, I had to ask the Lord, I really enjoy this. Is it like, do I
Yeah.
enjoy taking on all this emotional burden?
Mm.
And it's not a burden for me. I
Yeah.
think that's something to understand too. It's not a burden to especially when someone wants to be better. I think that's the difference too,
Mm.
is having folks in your life who are truly wanting to learn and be better versus those who want to complain and they drain you, right? So,
Yeah.
so there's
Yeah.
that balance too of being
Sure.
able to differentiate between like a toxic situation and a situation that truly brings you joy, because you know that you're helping to help that person find progress and peace and freedom. And so
Yeah.
that's what even the platform that I've built is all about, is being able to find that personal peace, freedom, joy, realizing who you are so that you can live in freedom. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I love permission granted so much for that reason. Um, so anyway, getting back to me, doing the things that I truly love that give me life is
Yeah.
like being inside and
Yeah.
being in like a dark, cold room. I feel like I'm a
I
bat.
love it.
I'm a bat. And that's probably my way of winding down from being
Sure.
from peopling all day. You know?
Yeah.
I love people, but I just like what fills me up is to be in a dark, watch movies that make me cry, watch
Yeah.
deep and meaningful movies. And some people think about that and they're like, oh my Lord, I could not even sit in my emotions for that long. Right.
Yeah.
But I can, and I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love
That's
it. And I
amazing.
want to do it with someone else. I want to,
Yeah.
my dream, if I were to invite other girlfriends into my dream, women friends, mom friends, it would be to be in on a retreat with them and like snuggle under a blanket together and watch an emotional movie
I
in
love it.
in the cold, maybe with a fire. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I
that
don't
sounds
know.
pretty amazing.
Okay, but here's the kicker, okay? I do not feel like I have permission to do that, or I haven't in the
Ah,
past, because I live in Hawaii.
yeah.
It sounds strange to say that, but if you unpack it a little bit, this is one of the hugest tourist destinations. People
Mm.
come here for the weather, for the
Yep.
beaches, for it's beautiful here. I would love to take you by the hand and walk you around and show you the beauty of Hawaii.
I would love for you to do that as well.
Let's let's do it. Let's get you out here. We're gonna get you out here someday.
Yes.
Um, but I don't enjoy spending my personal time doing that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, maybe if I was alone, I'd walk through a beautiful garden, definitely under a shaded tree or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But I don't, that doesn't fill me up.
Yeah.
It doesn't repel me, but it doesn't fill me up. And I
Sure.
felt like I needed so long to have permission to be the Batcave girl book loving girl that I am.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I live here and it would be like being ungrateful for the blessing that
Mm.
God has given me to live here.
Wow.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So I
So
kind of
how have you like processed that? Like, not just like staying in, I'm just ungrateful, but realizing like, oh, no, this is just who I am and it's okay.
saying that to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like literally remembering that this is who I am, and it's okay. There are times, because I'm in the season of being a mom and my kids are 10 and 11,
Mm-hmm.
they need outdoor experiences.
Yeah.
Right? They need us to give them those experiences or lead them. They can't drive themselves, right?
Right.
We need to, between my husband and I, my husband, who is super outdoors, he is a surfer by hobby. He would probably be by profession if he
Uh-huh.
went that route, but he's an excellent surfer, and he loves that. That fills him up to go out early morning to hit the water and get in the ocean. And it's the opposite for me. Like
Yeah.
that gives me the creeps like no other. And but but it would be cool to sit on a beach and watch him if I
Mm-hmm.
didn't hate being in the sun and the sand so much.
Yeah.
So even just say it just makes me feel bad. But working through that and literally saying to myself, we are different people.
Mm-hmm.
We have different loves, desires, drives, and it's okay. Like one of the biggest I think band-aids in our marriage has been like, it's different. You're not wrong.
Mm.
You just do it differently.
Yes.
And
Oh my
that's
goodness.
okay.
That's been huge for us. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
That's been
wrong, it's
huge.
different. And which things are not wrong, they're just different. The things that are truly personal preferences and not
Right.
like choices that hurt somebody, right? That's
Sure.
something you need to talk about and work on and
Right.
things like that. But when it comes to the person that you are, like, I like staying indoors. And sometimes, so
Yeah.
what I'll say is, go ahead and go to the beach. Is it okay if I just stay home?
Yeah.
Like I literally asked permission for that before.
Yeah.
Now it's more like, do you mind if I stay home? Like, I know I
Yeah.
don't need your permission, but like, do you
Yeah.
mind just taking them? If you need my help, I will happily go. Like,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But and then the other thing is like, action movies.
Mm.
I don't love. Do you know? I fall asleep in action movies
I
because
love it.
I get overstimulated. Does that
I
make sense?
100% that makes sense because I
Oh
felt
my
that
god!
way. I think it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, I
That the
love it.
cartoony
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And
Most
I was
definitely.
like, I don't know, my husband wasn't here. And so I was watching it and for whatever reason, I need like captions to be able to watch anything anymore. It's kind of ridiculous. And we couldn't
Yeah.
figure out the captions. And I was just like, at one point, I just wanted to just go like this because it was just too much for me. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, I don't understand. And people are like, don't you love it? And I was like, no, I did not enjoy this at
It
all.
was creative. Okay, so this
I
is
will
where,
give you that.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to see, like, what I try to do is see the positive and the good in the things that even I don't like, because I'm not out to be like this super critical person. Like,
Sure,
we're not going to
sure.
criticize things that we don't like just because it's not our thing. But
Right.
my son's like the opposite of me. He is this super high energy, like lives for the loud music and the moment. And like he needs experiences where mom's not
Uh-huh.
always telling him shh, because I'm like always shushing him in my mind, like shh, because I need this quiet. But it was super creative. I'll sit with him for a little bit if he's watching it on TV and go like, oh, that was cool the way they did that animation and swung. But I can't stay in the room with the music for more than probably 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'll try to affirm parts of it for the sake of him because it's something
Sure.
he loves, right? And the same with surfing. Like,
Definitely.
I try to ask my husband, so he used to talk with his hands and he's like, so you go over a wave like this and then you come up and come under. And so and I'm like, so how do you do it? Like, I'm never going to do it, but I'm going to ask
Right.
you what part
Yes.
of what you do is important to you,
Right.
because that's how we love and honor each other without
Most definitely.
needing to do it. So, yeah.
That's so wise. That's so wise to like find those points of connection, even
Mhm.
though you're like, okay, well, that might not be what I love.
Yeah.
But it's important to find those parts that you do have in common. And then at the same time, it is important to not pretend. Like my husband jokes that I kind of pulled a fast one on him.
What?
Um,
What did he say?
before we got married, it was Michigan State was like in, see, I don't even know if I had the lingo, was like in the final four or
No, I don't know.
even better. I don't know. And I was like, I mean, I was watching it, with friends, even when he wasn't there. And then we get married, and I was like, man, I'm not interested in watching basketball. And he's like, wait, what? Like, what happened? I thought you liked basketball. Like, what happened? And I was like, well,
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do like college basketball at about the final 8-ish area, somewhere in there. And I'm like, okay, like
The final 8 minutes of the game.
no, like the final, like getting close to the final, where they're like
Yeah.
really giving it all they've got, and it's fast and it's fun, but it's like, I'm good for like 4 games, and I'm out. And he's just like, wait a minute, I thought we were on the same page here. So he does like to watch sports,
Yeah.
and I am not a huge sports fan, but it's kind of like a running joke. He's like, yeah, see, I thought that we had this basketball thing in common, but no, not the case. Not the case.
No.
What are some other ways? I know you have a couple things that you were thinking about when you thought about, okay, well, where have I need to give myself permission in my own personal journey?
Well, part of being a Batcave girl and word nerd and book lover and all that comes a love for the written word, and thus a love for the spoken word. And I'm a teacher. I'm a trained teacher. I'm a natural teacher. I've always functioned in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely had to learn how to pull it back when somebody didn't ask me to teach them something. So,
Sure.
working on that for sure. But because of all of those desires in my heart, I really, really, really needed an outlet once I stopped working full time. When I came home to be with my kids, I needed an outlet to express and write and stuff. And I'm like, what is this blogging thing about? Like, why do people blog? And it was truly an organic curiosity. So I needed to give myself a presence for almost 5 years ago now to have an online presence.
Okay. So you had to give yourself permission to say, okay, like I need this outlet. I have to have somewhere to put this, some way to use these gifts that I have.
Yeah. To affect change in other people's lives. I mean, I led book studies, but Bible studies at my church. Like I had groups of women to talk to. It's not like I'm all alone out here, and we don't live in grass huts, by the way. Like there's like a couple million people here on this island, so like I'm not alone out here in the middle of the Pacific. But sometimes it would feel that way because nobody really understood my need for sharing thoughts and discussing and words, right? Just sharing the words. And so I felt like I needed to have all kinds of prerequisites to be able to have the right to take up space online, to have a writer page, to have a speaker page. And it was a couple of really great women at different times who were mentors who basically looked at me and said, why do you need someone else's permission to do this? Who are you looking for? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just so afraid of doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I didn't feel like I had the right to express, to create something of myself, lest it look like I wasn't being humble or something.
So good.
It's like mind blowing, and it's a pain point for me as a good Christian girl who grew up in church, who did things the right way, I'm nice and polite. I don't like to rock the boat unless someone is being horribly abused or something like that. But I'm like, truly, what am I waiting for? Why am I waiting for this? And the same comes, I kind of had this as a third point too. In order to initiate a platform that was going to really have a huge impact on women, or whatever kind of impact. You can't control the impact, right? You just need to be faithful. that I needed to wait for permission from the church, because like I'm doing ministry for women, I'm talking about the Lord, I'm encouraging them in their spiritual walk, that I needed to wait to fall under the umbrella of the church, or to be invited through women's ministry,
Yeah.
or by the pastor or something like that. And one friend of mine who's a pastor's wife at a different church, we were having coffee one day. She's like, what? What is this umbrella? And what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
why are you waiting for, to fall in line under a headship of,
Yeah.
of some sort, And I think
Right.
there are different definitions of that, like of what submission to authority and leadership looks
Sure.
like. But I was making it so much bigger
Mm.
than it actually is. Like
Yeah.
the Lord wants us to walk in our calling and our giftings. And it's like, do it.
Right. Like,
Girlfriend, just start.
yes, it sounds like in both of those examples, it's kind of like you were waiting for the invitation.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Sure.
where's the invite for me to go ahead and step into this and to put my content out there? I'm waiting for
Mm-hmm.
the invitation to come in the mail,
Yeah.
for me to get online and share my heart and to help, women pursue what they're meant for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been there for that. I mean, probably this week.
Yeah. Yesterday, I had
Yeah.
doubts too.
Yeah. Just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like, what am I doing and why? And I was talking with a friend today that I felt this pressure that I had to be an expert
Yes.
in something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to have
Mm-hmm.
like, some kind of a certificate, here it is, here's my name, here's my training. And to be able to, like you said, to put my name out there, to have a platform and to feel like I was somehow legit. Like I needed somebody to say, okay, yes, I've signed off on this and you may proceed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's us that has to do that. We have to be the ones that give ourselves permission, because permission's already been granted. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have these gifts and our talents have already been put within us by our creator. And so it's our responsibility to use them and to, put them out there. And we don't need any more permission than that. It's already been given.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a step in maturity too. Kind of like when you're raising kids and they get to a point where and they know that they are way too old to be picked up after anymore.
Yeah.
Or to carry their dish to the sink.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or to get involved in a club at school or something. Like, mommy's not going to do that for you, sweetie. Like,
yeah,
it's our job to build in them skills to be independent at age appropriate stages. And here we are as adults running around as if, we need to get approval from daddy, to do it. And when we already have it, like you're saying,
right.
we already have it and it's from the Lord. Like he knows us better than anyone ever could. And what I had to do to break free of that, it actually happened in the last year with Practical Family and all of that.
Yeah.
I had to start listing who I am, like very simply and obviously. I'm a wife and a mother. Okay, what experiences have I had that comes with those roles that I'm already in? Okay, now what comes with the role of what I have specific training in? And even if you don't have a degree, I mean, hello, you probably graduated from high school. If you didn't, you probably went to work right away. You have been saving up these life experiences that allow you to speak to certain things that not everyone has.
100%.
And I had to start listing those out. And even though I do have a degree, my friend had to remind me that I had a degree, and because I wasn't considering even that a part of what I wanted to do for the hearts of women. Like I was all ready to go get a degree in like marriage and family therapy or something, as if that was the only route to be able to help women. And it's not. I mean, there's a place for all of these wonderful trainings, but you don't have to wait for that to be qualified. Like the Lord qualifies you. He calls you and then he equips you.
Mhm.
But you need to step in it and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so many times I've been in different experiences where I tend to be like a tentative person and I tend to
Mhm.
overthink things.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
tend to, my husband has said that I could talk myself out of anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty proficient at this. And I remember just like, there's been several times where God has literally just had to like kick me in the butt. Like, oh my word, like just pick me up and place me in it because
Mhm.
I could talk myself out of anything. I could come up with all kinds of
Mhm.
reasons and they sound super like reasonable and logical and they can still
Mhm.
be wrong. They can still be like so far out of the realm of what is even needed that
Mhm.
I could just like stay very small and think, okay, well, this is all I'm meant for.
Right.
I'm not meant to take up any space. I'm not meant to utilize the gifts that I've been given. And I remember my dad one time said to me that a leader is sometimes all you need to do in order to lead is just be one step ahead
Mhm.
of the people that you're leading.
Yeah.
Like, and so that kind of helped me understand, like, well, you know, this expert thing. Like, I don't have to be like you're saying, like, oh, well, I need to have this degree or I need to have this training. And that's not necessarily the case because
Mhm.
you've
Mhm.
been through all of these. I mean, your bio does not quite cover all that you do. I mean, there's so much. And when I look out on your website and I was like, taco shop? What? Like, I didn't even know about that part of your story.
Yeah,
Uh,
we have
that's
layers. We have so many layers, right?
we
There's
do.
so many things but we can't even see our own potential. We
Oh my
can't.
gosh.
And this is why we need people. Okay, I needed truth tellers in my
Mm,
life. Truth tellers who would call me on my crap. Okay,
yep.
can I just say that on this?
100%. Yes.
um, and who would also remind me of my strengths. I
So
kid you
true.
not, Bethany. Okay, I'm going to step in the season in the next 7 weeks. I'm going to be teaching a study at our church for the women, and I've been nervous about it. I mean, I wanted it so much, and I
Mm,
was so excited to be at. I was asked
yes.
to do it. You know,
Yes.
it was so cool, right? So I was given permission, but everything in me was still butterfly and jumpy. And I'm going to this ministry meeting, and I was talking to my sister, and I'm like, I'm nervous because I feel like, I'm not quite qualified, and they're going to compare me to our senior pastor, who's an amazing teacher, and all of this.
Yep.
Just making yourself small in any sort of way. And my sister was like, overcome with the Spirit of the Lord. And I have never heard her speak to me with such certainty and authority ever. It was one of those moments where I was like, what just came over you? And I was like against the wall like this verbally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I immediately cried because she started saying things like, I don't know where this is coming from, Jen, but don't you dare say that you're not qualified for this. This is what God has put in you from the beginning
Mm,
for you. And this is my sister, this is my blood relative who's known
yeah.
me since ever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like crying because she's telling me, she's washing me with the truth of the words. And
Yeah.
it's so prophetic, and it's so um I needed that. I couldn't come up with that on my own. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that for myself. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? So
Yep.
sometimes we need to allow our truth tellers to tell us exactly what we are blinded to,
That's
because
so
we're
good. Yeah.
blinded by fear. We're blinded by fear and insecurity and all the stupid crap that the enemy
Yep.
wants us to believe so that we're not effective. Okay. Can
100%.
I just say this to you right now, woman who's watching? You are
Yes.
not, you are so loved and beloved and special and equipped and prepared for the season that God has you. And even
Mhm.
if it's hard,
Yep.
even if it's hard, let your truth tellers tell you what's up. So I ended that conversation, a little later on, and I was crying, and I was like, thank you. Dang, I've never heard you speak like that. She's like, what did I say? What did I say? I don't remember. Like, I don't even know. It was such an out of body
Yeah.
experience that God was like, nope, you are mine. You are
Yeah.
precious, and you are going to do what I've called you to do. Like,
Oh gosh, that's so good.
there's authority there. So
That's so amazing. And that I fully believe that we have to be those people for each other.
mhm.
And sometimes too, like, we don't know what people are battling. Like, we don't know,
Yeah.
The lies that people might be believing, or, what they're battling. And I feel like it's so, like, I feel like we talk ourselves out of stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And people, like, we don't give to each other as much as we should, or as much as we can. And I had a similar experience. Actually, it was a time when God, like, kind of had to, like, pick me up and put me in something. And that was when I started a part-time job after being home full-time with the kiddos. And I came up with all kinds of reasons that it wasn't a good idea. It was working at a church part-time. There was childcare there at the church. Like, my kids were actually with me, but I was still coming up with all of these reasons why I shouldn't do it. And the only reason at all that I was even thinking about or considering this job was because a mentor mom came to me and said, "Hey, have you thought about doing this? You would be great at this." And I was like, no, it has not once crossed my mind. And I know that those couple years in that position, being surrounded by these people who were super creative and pursuing all of their gifts and using them for the glory of God, I know that was a pivotal time for me to, like, okay, I'm just kind of stewing in this fantastic place where all of these creative people, where I feel like I'm like this creative and they're like way up here,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just really an amazing experience for me, that I was like, I mean, a breath away from completely taking myself out of it. Like, I tried. I actually said, this isn't for me. I don't think this is going to be it. And she's like, okay, well, I want you to just keep praying about it. Like, I literally like walked away, and it just kept circling back. And I was like, okay, God, maybe there's something here. Like, so we do have to be those truth tellers. That is so, and we don't have to wait for an invitation, because your sister didn't wait for an invitation to be like, oh, well, wait a minute. Sometimes we have to just, like, tread into it, even though we feel like, okay, I don't know if this is, like, going to be wanted or desired, but I'm going to go ahead and share, like, wait a minute, you need to remember what's true here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the relationship matters. I mean,
100%.
Like, it tends to be a more it's taken more abrasively when you do it to someone you've only hung out with a couple times, right? So we have to invest in our relationships enough to be okay, do you trust me? May I have permission to speak into this? And for people like me who are teachers, and I'm an Enneagram 2, so I'm like a natural helper. I see the potential and everything, right? I've had to learn to pull back and ask for permission to share, because there's the difference between someone's personal boundaries and where they are right now, but to put something on someone without them realizing it, unless you can obviously see they're in a situation that's hurting them, or even hurting them emotionally. Like, honey, even I don't know you that well, but what I do know is this. It's kind of like why people are afraid to share the gospel, because they don't have a degree in theology or something, or they're not a pastor, or that's a pastor's job or something. Like, all we need to have permission for is to share our own testimony, right?
Yeah.
And you can testify to the fact that you've seen God change your life and work in your life. I don't know your situation, but what I do know is that God is good. God would never put something on someone that he didn't have a bigger plan for, or, and that comes from a developed relationship with knowing the God of your creation,
Right.
and resting and trusting his word. And then you can pour that out to people and love on them with your words.
Yeah, that's so true. It is definitely a balance. It's definitely a balance, but it's also like, it's also one of the, like, the benefits of having a community, and, making sure to take time to pour into each other. And as moms, I think that's something that sometimes we're like, oh, okay, well, I don't need to go do that. Or we feel like we have to ask permission to have time with friends, or to go have fun and go bowling, or go out for ice cream, or whatever it is, go on a trip to Hawaii with friends,
Yeah, why not?
you
Why
know,
not?
why not?
Start planning it.
Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna
What is keeping you from putting away $20 a week or something, or whatever you can afford,
Exactly.
I'm not saying you, I'm saying any specifically, even me, like, what's keeping me from setting small goals toward what I want? That's what I started doing when I began attending writers retreats and conferences. It's like, this is something that's important to me, but I felt bad because, we could have gone on a vacation as a family. But I realized, my husband and I hadn't talked about that. Let's have an intentional conversation about what we need to do, how we want to prioritize our family time and do. So I gave myself permission to go meet with writers. He gave himself permission to go on a surf trip with buddies. That's wonderful. I would never condemn that, because we are talking about it and sharing it. And you have to believe that your desires matter.
100%. And it is important to have those conversations. And, it can be a challenge, especially when you like different things, of course. But it's so important to have those conversations, and it really makes a big difference. Like, I had a similar story as far as, like, all of a sudden I just came to, like, rock bottom, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm not actually using my gifts, and I'm also not pursuing things that fulfill the parts of me that motherhood does not. And so when I wasn't pursuing myself as a whole person, I wasn't bringing all that I am to motherhood. And that does a disservice to all of us. So that was my big challenge, where I was like, oh, okay, like, this is not selfish. This is not something that's, taking time away from my family. It's actually serving them, because I'm taking care of myself. And that's the ultimate, like, that's the first step, right? In permission granted, is like, it's okay to take care of myself. That's the thing that I need to do. So Jen, with that, what would you say to the woman who struggles to believe that permission has already been granted to pursue that whole life?
I would tell her that you are stronger than you think.
I love
that. Your desires matter. They matter. You don't need to play small so that other people feel big. It's.
That's
I
good.
think we let go of too much of ourselves. So I would also say to stop, to do. I'm sorry, to do and start something that is important to you, even if it's on a small scale. Even like, let's say you want to be a writer or communicator someday. Start writing, like, in a journal, or even an online journal. That's what I did. I just started writing down my thoughts. I wonder if anybody would want to read this, is always the next question. And so, get in a group of like-minded people, whatever it is you want to do, find a group of people, or pray, like, God, bring these like-minded people to me, even if I meet them online. Almost my entire writing community are y'all online.
Yeah, same.
I don't have many around me at all. But do what you want to do. Stop apologizing for it, and stop waiting for someone else to say go.
Oh, yes. All of those things. Let's just put them all on a t-shirt and just go forward. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for doing this live with me, Jen. I really appreciate, the opportunity to share your work and with my audience. And, it's just, I love what you do. I love how you impact women with the message that they're strong enough, like, right where they are. And I think we all need that some days. We just do. I'm going to drop all of the ways that you can find Jen online and in the comments here so that you can find her website, which is chock full of amazing stuff. She has a fantastic podcast and a blog, and she also does coaching and those kinds of things. So if you're feeling stuck, yeah, like you said, you're a good place. You're a good place to trust and lean into and, help me figure this out. So thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I'll see you online again soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
If not in person, but thank you again for your time. And it's just been a pleasure to have you on here.
Thanks, Bethany. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Virtual hugs.
Yes, virtual hugs. Give yourself a squeeze. Permission granted, friends.
Bye.
Bye.